Unfortunately, I was only able to record half of this conversation, but it was a really good conversation and I wanted to post what I had anyways. I hope all of you enjoy and turn up your headphones for Makai. This is another episode of Ponda Cruise. I'm here with my friend Makai. How you doing, Makai?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Another day in paradise.
Indeed. It's like a brisk 40 degrees.
So you're just telling me how you have been traveling.
Yeah, this summer alone I was in a bunch of different countries, but I think I started off actually going with the Carson College of Business here. Um, I did a study abroad for 5 weeks in Valencia, Spain, and that was an absolute dream. It was amazing. Learned a lot, met a lot of people, had a lot of fun, and I mean, at the end of the day, it was a study abroad, so academics are the most important part. But I got out of that with a 4.0 GPA for the semester, or for the um, timeline of the academic bit.
Congrats, bro.
Thank
Congrats.
you, thank you. Yeah, no, but yeah, it was really a dream come true. But I started off because there's no direct flights from Seattle to Valencia, so I went through Istanbul, and I was in Turkey for about 23 and a half hours, 22 hours, on my way to Spain, and I'd never been to I'd never been to Turkey, and I didn't know anything about it, and so I was doing my research like obviously the night before because I procrastinate, and so I was like right as I'm about to start packing, I'm looking at, okay, this is Turkey, this is the Blue Mosque, this is Istanbul, this is like the remains of the Ottoman Empire that I actually found out existed in like the early 1900s. When I think of the Ottoman Empire, when I think of anything that has an empire, I think of like 42 AD, just because that's empires are old, unless they're in Star Wars. But yeah, so I was in Turkey for 22 hours on my way to Spain, and they have a pretty cool thing called Tour Istanbul. That if you fly through the Istanbul airport and you're there for more than like 6 hours, then you get a free tour of the city. And they do like the Balat tour, which is what I did on my way there, and it's this really cute old neighborhood that's a bunch of different colors and everything, and it's old, and there's people walking around everywhere, and like Turkish food. I'd never had Turkish food, and I'd never really had Middle Eastern food, but like I tried my first round of Turkish delight, and that was absolutely amazing. Try it if you ever get a chance, or if you're ever in Turkey. If you ever have a chance to go to Turkey, just go to Turkey. It's pretty cool. But Istanbul is also huge. Like the way from the airport to my hotel, which is it's all Istanbul. It took us probably an hour and a half driving with no traffic to get from the airport to my hotel. And I stayed in this really cute little hotel that had like one spiral staircase going up the entire thing, and like I could extend my arms each way, and just my full wingspan was the entire hallway, and it was awesome. But like Turkish fabric and everything, Turkish coffee, they gave us free coffee, and it was amazing. Hospitality was fantastic. But yeah, anyway, after I finished Turkey, I made my way to Valencia, and then also a pretty cute airport. Kind of reminded me of the Honolulu airport because my family comes from Hawaii. But it was very hot when I got there, and then I checked into my apartment, met some roommates of mine. One of my roommates, actually, we had a guitar class earlier in my first semester on campus, and we'd seen each other, and then we saw each other again being roommates, and that was just hilarious. But yeah, and then we did wine tasting, and we learned about marketing and like just hospitality and how to properly market something internationally. And my professor Jose, he was absolutely amazing. He just was fantastic, and he was just an absolute dream to work with. We watched documentaries every day, did case studies, and class didn't feel like class. It just felt like discussions, and that's one of my favorite ways to learn. And that's one of my favorite ways to just be an academic.
It's the most natural way.
Exactly, yeah. Well, just conversation. It's just, I mean, like how you and I are right now in just this confined box, just talking to each other. It's human interaction. That's the way that people retain things. But yeah, we did a weekend trip to Granada, and that was also amazing. Granada is old, in that like I bought some souvenirs, and we went to the museums and everything, and it was just awesome. And then went back to Valencia, explored some of the Spanish nightlife, and I'd been to Spain before, but I'd never been to Valencia. We went to the beach. Gorgeous, gorgeous city. Met some amazing people, had some amazing experiences. Everything was awesome, just fantastic, and a dream come true, as I've said like 5 times in this one sentence. But it's
Best experience ever.
yeah, no, it was a fantastic experience. And then after that, it was, I think, one of my last weekends in Spain, and so a bunch of people were leaving, just because it's Europe, you're in the EU, you can just, hey, I'm in Spain, I want to go to Germany for the weekend. Okay, cool. So I went to London, which is not part of the EU anymore, but I went to London for a weekend, and I did the London Dungeon, I saw Big Ben, I saw Buckingham Palace, met some people, went to an Irish pub in London. That was also fun. Just London was awesome, and I never thought about London. So I mean, I was calling my mom and I was like, "Where should I go?" And she was like, "I'm gonna go to London." And I was like, "Okay." So I went to London, and then London was awesome. They really do have the double-decker buses there, and they also have.
They really do?
Yeah, no, it's not just a thing in Harry Potter with the night bus, but
Did you take one?
yeah, I did.
Second floor?
Yes, second floor, right at the front, of course. But they also have tea buses, which I thought was a joke when I first heard about it. But going on a bus and then having tea served to me, yeah, they do that. It was pretty cool. Yeah, then I came back to Spain, finished out my quarter there, and after that came back to Seattle for like a night, and then went to Vegas, met up with my grandpa and my uncle, and then we went to Puerto Rico for 10 days, and that was also awesome. I love the Caribbean, and I love speaking Spanish, and just getting to go to Puerto Rico was awesome. So.
How nice was it to come home?
It was pretty nice.
Yeah,
well, because after Puerto Rico, my feet were not on the ground. This is why I don't want to travel for like probably the next year. I just want to be in Seattle, and I want to be in Pullman, and I just want to chill, because like I said, when I was in Istanbul for 24 hours, then I was in Spain for 5 weeks, was in London for a weekend while I was in Spain, and came back to Spain, was in Seattle for a day, then Vegas, then Puerto Rico, then Seattle again for a day, and then Hawaii for like 3 weeks. And then I was back, and I was in Seattle the entire summer. Actually, no, because when you and I went to Dubai together over spring break, that I wasn't even really in Seattle for more than 5 hours. So I think we were talking about it, and my mom and I said, "This is the first time you've been home." And this was August. She said, "This was the first time you've been home for more than 48 hours since Christmas." Which, I mean, God bless me for being able to travel, and like, thank you to everybody that made it happen. Thank you to my mom for paying for everything and helping me just keep my head straight while traveling the world and being a globetrotter. It was a lot of fun. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have been able to do that. It was awesome.
How did it change you?
I think I'd been to different countries before, and I'd been to third world countries, and I've seen like the other side of the coin and just everything, and just understanding that America is not everything, understanding that the US is not everything, which is obvious, but I mean, for some people that's harder to realize because they've never left the country. But going literally across the world to Dubai for the first time, that was a huge culture shock. And obviously Dubai is very like it's pretty westernized, and it's kind of like Vegas, but New York.
At least like the infrastructure. All the infrastructure is the same.
Yeah, culturally it's vastly different, and that was awesome. Getting to go to Abu Dhabi and see the Grand Mosque and everything, and getting to be at the top of the Burj Khalifa and see the biggest mall in the world that has a ski rink inside of it, just because. That was awesome. And seeing everything that looks like gold is actually gold. That doesn't exist here. But I think in the ways that it changed me, going and living in a foreign country where, yes, it's a language that I speak, but there's different cultural practices. We eat dinner at like 11 p.m. We start dinner at 11 p.m. in Spain. Like breakfast is a coffee and then a pastry. Lunch is like a banquet. And then dinner is just kind of tapas and everything. That's a huge thing that I felt was different. But I think in the ways that it changed me, it made me realize there is like just get out and see the world. It will open your mind to so many different perspectives, and it will help you understand why people think the way that they do, and why people like some cultures don't shake hands. And for me, like even the way that you place your hands on the table when you're eating, like in parts of the UK and in the US, we like have our hands on our lap while we're having a meal. But in some other countries, they have your hands have to be on the table to show that you're not concealing a weapon, which I thought was like, I don't even think about that, because I don't think, oh, I'm gonna go on a dinner date with someone. I don't think about, oh, are they concealing a weapon? I can't see their hands. They have a knife. You never know. But just meeting all of the people that I did, and having all the experiences that I did, and seeing like some of the different just things in the world, and seeing like the desert, that was, I'd never seen it before. And then seeing the desert where it's just literally as far as you can see, there is nothing but sand. That was my favorite part. That was amazing. That was insane. Hugely my favorite part. And then also seeing camels that actually walk in caravans that, like, across the desert, walking in one single file line. That was awesome.
It was Aladdin, man.
Yeah, it literally was. But just if there's one thing that I can just give a piece of advice to people, just travel. Like, just don't think about it. Just literally throw a dart at a map of the world, and then wherever that is, just go. Don't think about if you don't speak the language. Don't think about if you're not going to blend in. Don't think about if you're the wrong color. Just hug your brother, love your family, and love the world, and go see the rest of it. There's so much more out there than the Starbucks on Stadium Way.
Is there?
There really is, yeah.
Is there, bro?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got Starbucks in Dubai, and I got McDonald's in Dubai, and I got KFC in Spain. But at the same time, like, it tastes different because they make their food differently. And that's something also that's culturally significant. It's interesting to see how other people live, and I think that's awesome.
Did you get to see, like, other kind of, you saw the desert in Dubai. Did you see anything equivalent to that in Turkey? Or,
yeah, actually.
There's not as much of that in England, is there?
I mean, there's Stonehenge, and there's, like, things that are, like, hugely, well, obviously Stonehenge was built. That's not natural like the desert, but
I'm sure the coast is amazing.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to see much of that because I was in London, like London proper, but like seeing Big Ben, that was pretty cool. It's smaller than I thought it would be.
Yeah, really.
Because I mean,
you just see the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, exactly. That's a huge building, but I mean, going to see Big Ben and like, okay, this is things I've seen in TV all the time. Oh, it's a little smaller than I thought it was. And then like there's Big Ben, and then right next to it there's like a huge building that's like 80 stories taller than Big Ben. But like, okay, it's Big Ben. That's pretty cool. That's something I've only ever seen in TV, and I'm standing in front of it right now. This is really cool. But when I was in Turkey, when I was in Valencia, there was this museum that I didn't go inside, but there was a museum that allegedly holds the Holy Grail, that the cup that was placed under Jesus while he was nailed on the cross, and holds the blood of Jesus Christ. But there's the Holy Grail in Valencia. There's also one in Prague. There's also one in a bunch of other different places. So like every country has their own Holy Grail, and they're all the Holy Grail. Like, it's just, okay, that's cool. But when I was in Turkey, I went into this museum that was probably the size of, I don't know, someone's house, maybe just like at max a hotel lobby. That was the size of this museum. But my tour guide, again, shout out Tour Istanbul. Go to Istanbul, spend more than 6 hours on a layover, get a free tour. But my tour guide that was with us, he said, everybody come over to this corner, and there's this like pillar that he's looking at, and it's a post. And I was looking at it, and I was like, what is this? This just looks like an old beam. And he said, no, this is the post that Jesus was tied to when he was whipped. And I was like,
in Turkey?
Yeah.
Oh, in Istanbul, yeah.
Yeah, in Istanbul. And I was thinking, like, okay. And then my geographical brain kicked in, and I was like, okay, but like, there's where Jesus lived in Istanbul. That's like kind of far. Okay, but this is the post that Jesus was tied to. This is actually really cool. And even if it's like, there's the other post that Jesus was tied to that's in London or whatever, there's multiple of everything, but they're all the authentic one. But still, at the same time, getting to see something like that, and getting to see something, even if you're not religious, seeing something that is that culturally significant to certain people.
That's where it came from.
Exactly.
I mean, like, that whole area, that's where all of that started.
Yeah. But seeing things that are culturally significant to a certain people is absolutely amazing. And it's just, it changes the way you think, and it really does open your eyes to different parts of the world, literally, but also figuratively. It does open your eyes to the ways that people think, and like people, the way that they hold their hands at the table. It's all cultural, and it's like based out of respect, and it's based out of like, this is what we believe, and it goes back centuries.
Did you pick up any culture? Take some home?
I think when I was in Spain, I got used to like not eating as much and doing a lot more walking. So I think if I picked up any culture, it was definitely more physical because I looked amazing. I was in the best shape of my life. I looked fantastic.
Hey, you kept it up, man.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. And then I got back to the States, and then like in Europe, and I guess in I won't generalize, but in the specific place in Spain that I was at, there was never like a calorie count next to anything on the menu because people don't think about that because their food is so much more like natural and it's real. They don't have any like genetically modified stuff. Doesn't really exist over there. Yeah. And all their fruit is like, oh, it's picked that day. I want an apple, and it's the freshest apple I've ever had, aside from Cosmic Crips. We love you, go Cougs. But I mean, yeah, if there's any cultural practices that I picked up, it's the way that it's kind of. I sat down and I had in the U.S. you don't really think about like sitting down and having a meal, like sitting down and taking your time. That was something that I took away. I don't eat as fast as I did before I went to Spain, and it's just I feel like people there breathe a little more because they're not always in a rush to do something. That's one thing that I like. If I could change one thing about the U.S. just in the way that people live, it would be just take some time to smell the roses. It's really worth it, and it will just like it helps you breathe a little more. It's nicer. But
why do we move so fast here, man?
I don't know, but like a drive-through doesn't exist in Europe. They just don't exist because people view food and view meal times as like, okay, I'm gonna go through Starbucks and I'm gonna get a coffee and then drink this on my way to go do something else because I'm in a rush and my schedule is packed. People don't think that way over there. Like meal times are designated. Like people do take 2-hour lunches in Spain. At least in the part that I was in, people would take 2-hour lunches in Spain, and they would like, okay, like we're gonna take our time and we're gonna enjoy our food because
you get to talk, you get to like enjoy the scenery.
And like there's a word that doesn't in Spanish, and it doesn't translate into English. It's called sobremesa, which I guess if you were to literally translate it, it means like over the table, but it's the moments after you finish eating with a partner or with your family or with your friends and whatever, and you just talk. You just sit down and talk. And sobremesa can last anywhere from half an hour to 30 hours because people just, it's that kind of cultural bond that people have, and they're just like, okay, let's sit down and let's just talk. And that's one of the things, like we did that in my family, and we've been doing that in my family for years, but seeing people do that, it's kind of like, it's a nice thing, and it's being like, okay, these they do this too. This is something that's familiar, and it reminds me of home. It's nice. And like, we're not all that different. Like we all wear shoes, we all wear pants, we all have to like, some of us wear glasses, some of us don't wear glasses, but at the same time, like, it's just, we're not that different. We're more alike. What was it, Maya Angelou that said we were more alike, my friends, than we are unalike? Or whoever said that, just that's the thing that I took away. Like, I'm not that different from these people. I might be a different color, but like, all blood is red.
Same wants and needs, same.
Exactly. Yeah.
It seems like those cultures are more settled.
Yeah. I feel that because, like, yeah, I definitely think that. And there's just, I don't want to get political because that's not something that I like to do. But like, there are certain things that I just think the U.S. can learn from different cultures.
Big time.
Yeah, very much big time. Like, I don't know. Like, I would go into school and I wouldn't feel like I was gonna get shot. Whereas, like, can I say that? Is that okay? Like, yeah, I would go to school and I'd feel safe, and I'd feel like, okay, I'm just gonna walk to class. I'll make a friend. That's actually something that's hugely different. When like, you're walking in the street here in the U.S. in any city, and people don't look at you. People like, just, what's my business? Like, I'm gonna mind my own business, and I'm not gonna stop and say hi to someone on the street. People do that outside of the U.S. They're like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like, what's up? They look at you and like when you're hiking or when you're running or something, people like look at you and they'll wave, but like it's
not the same.
It's not the same. It's emphasized, and it's like, I don't know. In the U.S., people tend to just think of themselves like I personally I feel just invisible when I'm walking downtown, even downtown Pullman. I just feel invisible because nobody looks at me, nobody says anything, nobody takes the 5 seconds that it takes to say, "Hey, how are you doing?" Whereas in Spain and in Puerto Rico and other parts of Latin America and even in London, people where London's a busy place, but in London, people would stop and they would actually make conversation.
That's cool.
Yeah. Whereas, like, I mean, I think I saw you, like, last semester just walking into the Cub, and, like, I smiled at you. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
And that's culturally normal here. But, like, you do that in Guatemala, people are going to look at you like you're crazy because you're not. The emphasis on human interaction, like, just say hola. That's it. That's all you have to do. And that's something that I think we should learn.
What was phone culture like over there?
I didn't see anybody walking with headphones in. I never
That's
saw
wild.
Yeah. Well, I'm guilty of that. I walk with my headphones. I was on my phone while I was walking here, but nobody is on their phones walking unless they're like on maps or something looking for a specific place or looking up a certain thing. And even that, people don't walk. They'll like find a corner or something or find a little like nook where they can sit and be out of people's way.
Why would they do that when they can just do it as they're walking?
Exactly.
It's so crazy.
No, but it's the whole emphasis on like we're all wrapped up in, we have so much to do, we have so many places to be, we have so many things that like need to get done.
Yeah.
We don't take 5 seconds to breathe. Just stop and smell the flowers. That's a huge thing. That's the thing that I take away.
It'll happen. Our culture, you know, we're a younger country.
Definitely.
Yeah. Youthful phases. Yeah. So you're into music production.
Yes.
Did you get any inspiration?
Yeah, actually, there's I went to a couple clubs in Spain and I heard they were super fun. But obviously, like being in a Spanish-speaking country where like Spanish is the official language and people's first language is going to be Spanish, and most people that are going to be in clubs are either tourists or locals. The music that they're going to play is going to be mainly Spanish music, and I love Spanish music. I grew up listening to it because my family's Hispanic.
What kind of like Spanish? Are there genres or is it all one?
Yeah, so
genre?
there's like flamenco it comes from Spain. That's where there's acoustic guitars and there's a lot of clapping and the rhythmic of it, and a lot of like acoustic elements that are just mic'd, but it's mainly guitars, clapping, body percussion, and then like tapping on yourself and stopping to get your rhythm. And that's pretty much it for flamenco. But reggaeton, which is a subgenre of Latin music that comes from Puerto Rico, where it takes influences from salsa, hip hop, trap, drum and bass, house music, techno. Just it's a cocktail, but it's a rhythm that everybody is. That's a rhythm that everybody knows. Everybody's heard Despacito. I did a podcast on this actually for a Spanish class that I took last semester. But even in like Passion Fruit by Drake, every house song that comes from that reggaeton. Like every dance song that comes from the reggaeton rhythm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just the 4 on the floor, but with the little accents on the. Like you can think of like everybody's heard Despacito.
Is it just the instruments or is it like the pace?
It's the pace and it's the vibe and it's kind of what they're talking about. It's
It's like a drill beat.
Yeah. It's a lot of sensual like elements, and it's like I don't necessarily want to say dirty music, but like it's very very passionate. We'll say romantic. That. Yeah, it's romantic and it's very passionate. But a lot of the music that they were playing in Spanish clubs would be reggaeton, and it would be like Bad Bunny, it'd be El Alfa, it'd be all of these artists that everybody's heard of, and all of these artists that, like, if you turn on the radio, you're gonna hear a Bad Bunny song. Everybody has at least heard a Bad Bunny song. Kanye talks about Bad Bunny. So if anybody ever talks about Bad Bunny, it's like, Bad Bunny's not relevant. Okay, Kanye talks about Bad Bunny. That's how we know it's relevant.
Where does Bad Bunny rank in, like, your kind of artists?
Oh, my God. That's gonna start a different conversation. But I would say, oh, my goodness. It depends on my mood, but I would say, like, if I'm in a reggaeton mood, Bad Bunny's at the top. If I'm in like a different mood, Bad Bunny might be like number 2. but he's definitely in my top
The
five.
best reggaeton.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Well, he was my most streamed artist this year on Spotify, and my Spotify Wrapped. He was my most streamed artist last year.
Dude, he was so popular.
Yeah, well, he's breaking records.
Yeah.
His, like, oh, the Swifties are going to come after me.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, well, Taylor Swift, yes, I have tremendous respect for Taylor Swift. I think she's a brilliant artist, and I think she is playing the game of the music industry absolutely fantastic. With that being said, Bad Bunny, a kid who is younger than Taylor from a tiny, tiny island with 3 million people on it, just in the middle of the Caribbean Sea.
Where's he from? Which island?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico?
Yeah. So he's just from this tiny little island in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, and he has broken more records than Taylor Swift.
It's pretty
And
nice,
yeah, but also Taylor's career has been going on for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. First time I heard her was when I was probably 8 or something. But
she definitely has the industry backing her.
yeah, she does have the industry backing her. Yeah. And Bad Bunny, like, Spotify never gave out Super Bowl rings until Bad Bunny came around, because Bad Bunny was the most streamed artist globally for 3 years in a row. That kind of thing hadn't happened. And Taylor Swift re-releasing all of her Taylor's version albums, which I also think is just a marketing genius. It's an amazing idea. Even with that, Bad Bunny's album that he released last year still broke more records than Taylor.
That's nuts.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I guess circling back to the original question. Yeah, I do a lot of music, and finding, like, going to different places and seeing what's popular and hearing just I take a lot of influence and a lot of inspiration from just the sounds that I hear around me. And so I would be in, like, there's No Role Models by J. Cole. Yeah, fantastic song. The producer in that used bird sounds in his drums.
Yeah.
Like, he used birds tweeting and just used that to make a hi-hat and put it into part of the drums, which I just think is fantastic, and it's a brilliant idea. But going and hearing all of these different elements and different ways that people approach music in Spain and in Turkey and everything. Like, I heard scales that I'd never heard while I was in the Middle East, hearing different instruments and hearing, like,
yeah, the Middle Eastern stuff is...
Yeah, it's super interesting. And they're, like, their drumming patterns, and they're, like, normally in the U.S. and a lot of Western music, we work in, like, phrases of 8. A lot of them, they work in phrases of 6, which feels uneven, and it feels, like, I don't want to say wrong, but wrong to Western ears, because it's not what we're used to. But hearing those kind of stuff and breaking out of my comfort zone a little bit and using different scales, using different techniques and different instruments, really, I do think helped me evolve as an artist.
Yeah.
And,
I'm surprised I kind of know that we stick to the same scales, but I'm surprised that we don't change up more than we do.
Yeah,
Like, I'm surprised we don't see more.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, there's different things than just major and minor. It's just, like, you can have happy music in a sad key. People just, like, I think rules are meant to be broken, especially when it comes to music. Like, if someone's going to tell me don't do this musically, I'm going to do it. That's how jazz was born.
Yeah.
That's how hip-hop was born. Hip-hop was created because people took a song that already existed and then changed it and made it into a new song. Took bits and pieces from different songs. And then, like, Shook Ones. Sorry, I'm a nerd for music. Okay. Shook Ones Part 2 by Mobb Deep. That samples, like, 3 different songs. The drums are taken from one song. The siren sound is taken from a Quincy Jones song. And then, like, the first that's Havoc turning on his stove. It's a gas stove, and it's he just slowed it down. When you flip the dial, it just makes that sound. And so he took that, put it into the drums, and then the main riff that everybody knows, the main melody, that was taken from a Herbie Hancock song. So that's at least 3 different songs plus someone's kitchen appliance to make a new song. And that's breaking all of the rules, especially copyright rules, because that's taking other people's things and making something new out of it. Which,
people love it.
Yeah, people do love it. That's still, I think, is one of the greatest songs that's ever been recorded. That's a fantastic song. Like, I feel like I can punch through a wall when I listen to that song. Like, that's on my gym playlist. But yeah, I love music, and I love traveling, and I love different parts of the world, and, like, finding inspiration and finding new ways to approach the things that I do on a daily basis because I'm experiencing different cultures, finding new ways to do that. It's just interesting.
How did you get your start, man? Who was your first artist that you knew? And your first inspiration?
My first inspiration
Was it an artist or was it?
She's gonna kill me for this, but I always tell this story a little bit wrong, and it's not actually what happened, but it's pretty close to what happened. I just tell it. But my grandma, when I was 4 years old, my grandma was a Miss Aloha. She danced in the Tacoma Dome. She was a big deal, and she leads halaus and every Hawaiian music groups and all that. She does hula dancing. She knows what she's doing when it comes to Hawaiian music. And so when I was 4 years old, my brother had been getting into music, but my grandma, I was over at her place, and she just kind of put an ukulele in my hand and said, "You're Hawaiian. You're going to learn how to do this, whether you want to or not." And so, I mean, the rest, as they say, is history. She gave me my first couple lessons, and then I put it away for a little bit, and then a couple years later, I picked it back out of the case, and then started learning a little bit in school, and then the uke was my first instrument, and that I owe all of that praise to my grandma, because I truly feel that she is probably, aside from my mom and my grandfather and just people that have influenced my life, I think that my grandma is one of the most influential people that I have ever crossed paths with for my life, because I find a great deal of purpose in everything that I do, to being an artist and just being creative and letting all of these things that are going on in my head out in a healthy way. And so music, I feel like, is my way of just being myself. And it's a huge level of purpose that I find in my life. And I owe all of those things to my grandma. I think if she had not made me start playing music, then I don't know what I'd be doing right now. Because, I mean, before I came here, I was making a new beat. I literally just closed my computer. My session is still open. I just closed the lid of my laptop. Music is what I do. But as far as the artists that influenced me, everybody goes through different phases, and the kind of music that we listen to changes based off of our moments that we're living through in life, canon events, and core memories that we experience. But I think some of my earliest musical memories are being in church and listening to the songs that we sang in church and doing all that. But also, just there was never music not playing in my house. My mom would clean on Saturdays. She'd be listening to Hawaiian music and then Puerto Rican music. She'd be listening to everything. But she also would listen to the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Led Zeppelin. So my music taste goes from I have Kendrick Lamar and Mozart in the same playlist. It's my music taste goes that far.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think my so I have two moms. One of them, she is a huge fan of the Indigo Girls. She's a huge Paul McCartney fan, Beatles, Sheryl Crow and Cher and all of those people. And then my other mom, equally Led Zeppelin to Keali'i Raichel from Hawaii. Just music that you would not imagine one person would listen to in the same playlist or in the same day even. So I think one of the first, the uke was my first instrument. After that, I started playing drums, and that's when I got into jazz. And a huge influence for me in my drumming was Buddy Rich. And if you've ever seen the movie Whiplash,
I need to see it.
You haven't seen it?
No, everyone says it's
no.
great.
It's such a good movie. It's fantastic. J.K. Simmons is absolutely brilliant in it. Miles Teller is even more brilliant.
I'll watch it this week.
You should. I think it's on Netflix, but it might have left.
I'll
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I figured you can get it somewhere. But there's a reference where this kid, it's his first day. He's in college. He's in a classroom. He's drumming with a band. It's his first time reading this sheet of music. First time hearing this song. And the director says, "Okay, just experiment a little bit." And then he does something that's really cool, and then the director says, "We got Buddy Rich over here," because Buddy Rich influenced John Bonham from Led Zeppelin, influenced Mitch Mitchell from the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Buddy Rich is he has a signature pair of sticks from Vic Firth, which is one of the biggest names in drumming. Buddy Rich is Buddy Rich. Buddy Rich is a god in jazz drumming. His speed was unrivaled. His creativity. He could never read music, but he was an amazing band director. Jerry Seinfeld even talked about Buddy Rich. So, Buddy Rich is pretty cool, but he influenced a lot of my jazz drumming, and like even from the way I would set up my drum set, it took influence from how he would have his. Like some parts would be lower. I would hold my sticks in a different way, and that was all just me experimenting and me being like, okay, if I'm gonna sound like these guys, I need to do exactly what they do. I need to use exactly the same sticks. I need to play in the same way. I need to morph my hands to play the way that they play. And on that note, I started taking guitar lessons for like a week just because I got bored. But I started taking guitar lessons for about a week. And then one of the things that my guitar teacher told me in that week that I was taking lessons, he said, if you want to sound like people, if you want to sound like an artist, don't listen to them. Listen to who they listen to. So if you want to sound like if you want to sound like Jimi Hendrix, don't listen to Jimi Hendrix. Listen to Muddy Waters. Listen to Howlin' Wolf. Listen to B.B. King.
Genius.
All of these people that influence them. So if I'm going to be influenced by, if I want to sound like these people, I need to not be influenced by them. I need to be influenced by their influencers, which I think to this day is one of the most like valuable pieces of advice that I've ever received in my life. Just not even just only applying to music. Just if I want to be like someone or live my life a certain way, I need to, if I want to model my life after, I don't know, like God or something, I need to look at who influenced God.
Well, I mean, that's why Jesus is such a powerful figure, because it's like, at least like the way they even talk about it, it's like, well, this is the dude that everyone's modeled after. So like, even if you take someone like Alexander the Great, or I heard a thing. So who was it? Einstein modeled himself after Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Einstein.
Yeah.
And Newton modeled himself after Jesus Christ, because that was like the biggest figure, like legitimately.
Actually, no, that makes sense.
That's why he stayed celibate his whole life. Like that's why he had all those kind of weird things that he did. And that's kind of what they talk about. They're like, hey, like this dude is kind of like the big deal. This is what everyone is modeling themselves after. So you might as well just go all the way back and model yourself after Jesus. Obviously, it's not the oldest figure, but it's a pretty good start.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, even now, just like looking back at my life and everything, like I model a huge part of the way that I carry myself, and a huge part of the way that I treat people, and even the way that I talk, and the way like I try to be articulate in my words and voice what I'm feeling in a way that's respectful, but also a way that gets my point across. A lot of that I take from my mom, but at the same time, a huge, like I have a tattoo to commemorate him. Her father I went to Puerto Rico with him over the summer, and that's when I got this tattoo. He's been hugely influential in her life, and she has transferred those influence that she has, or that she got from him down to me. And that's, I don't know, just kind of a full circle moment of, I'm saying, model who you want to be. Like, if you want to be like someone, model yourself after the people that influence them. I'm modeling myself after my grandpa because I want to be like my mom. That's kind of interesting, actually. Huh, I never realized that.
It's good advice.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But just yeah, that.
So what musician do you aspire to be like? If you were to model yourself off after one, who would it be?
If I were to model myself after one person,
musician-wise,
one musician, I'd probably say Pharrell. Either Pharrell or Ludwig Göransson, because Pharrell is absolutely revered as one of the greatest producers of all time. I think there was a study that came out and said, like, if you turned on the radio between the years of 2012 to 2016, there's an 80% chance that you're going to hear a song that was produced by Pharrell, because he's just stuck his hands in everything, and he's been doing so much. Song Milkshake by Khalees. My milkshake brings all the boys to the... That song was Pharrell. Happy is Pharrell. Blurred Lines is Pharrell. All of these like songs that were absolutely massive, they're all produced by Pharrell. Kendrick Lamar's had work done by Pharrell.
Did he do UNEO? Isn't that Pharrell?
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that song. Probably. But he has also done, like, he has his own fashion line. He is a huge just pop culture icon because of his fashion style, but also he's done movies and everything. And I just
Really?
Despicable Me. He was a producer of that, and he wrote multiple songs for that entire series, and he also oversaw some of the music production of just the overall film score of that. And then Ludwig Göransson, he's most known for doing the music from Oppenheimer and The Mandalorian and Black Panther, but at the same time, he executive produced Redbone by Childish Gambino, which is one of the greatest songs. I say that a lot, but that's easily, like, everybody knows Redbone. Everybody loves that song. That's a fantastic song. Speaking of that, actually, I just got contracted to do. There's a guy on campus. His name is Evan Maggot. Shout out, Evan. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong. I don't know how to pronounce it, but shout out, Evan. He posts on the WSU 2026 Snapchat story a bunch of like movie reviews and everything, and just like movie suggestions, and he takes suggestions from other people. I've even said like, hey, can you review this movie? And he's been like, yeah, I'll get to it. And like, he probably saw 3 movies today and then wrote 3 different reviews today, because that's how he is, and film is his passion, and I think that's awesome. And he's sharing that with a bunch of other people, and some people might not like it, and some people might just breeze, like, click through his stories. But at the same time, like, when you take the time to read what he's writing, it is pretty interesting. And granted, it's his opinion, but like, he ranked his favorite Star Wars movies differently than I ranked mine, and I got into a fight with. This was like my first real conversation with him. I got into a fight with him because of that, because I disagreed. He was like, "Yeah, Revenge of the Sith isn't my favorite Star Wars movie," and I was like, "That's just wrong. I don't care that's a matter of opinion. That's also just wrong, because Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars." Blah 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 blah. But
It is the best.
It is the best. Yeah, but he's working on writing and producing his own short film, and he needed a composer for it. And so I just reached out to him and I said, hey man, I know we don't really talk that much, and I know you've never heard any of my work, but I've read like the first half of the script. I really think this is a great idea, and I've already got some ideas flowing. And so I don't want to give away too much, but I'm just going to say what he has said publicly, so I'm not, like, I don't get in trouble. But I'm writing the music for that, and I sent him a sample just based off of the first act that I read, and it takes place in 2016 when all the killer clown sightings were like taking place. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, it was pretty great. People were getting arrested and everything. It was a wild time. But
Was that 2016?
I think it was 2016. At least that's what he said.
2016 was a crazy year.
2016 was a crazy. Pokemon Go came out. Trump got elected. Like, I don't know. Things were wild. But yeah. So it takes place in 2016 with all the killer clown sightings going on. And so I was thinking, like, okay, if there's clowns, okay, I need to incorporate a music box and something that sounds like kind of playful, but also like a Jack in the Box sound that's like kind of, okay, it's speeding up, it's getting a little, okay, this sounds happy, but I'm getting nervous, what's going on? And then it takes place on a college campus, and so I incorporated that music box element, and like, it sounds happy, but I'm a little uneasy, what's going on? And then a frat party. And so I'm thinking, okay, it's 2016, October. Goosebumps by Travis Scott, one of his biggest songs, came out in September of 2016. So I was like, okay, I produce a lot of rap and I produce a lot of hip hop, so I'm just gonna have fun with this. So I put in that first like orchestra piece, and I was like, okay, we're in a frat party now. I'm gonna make something that sounds like Goosebumps by Travis Scott. So I made all that, put that together, sent it to him, and he was like, bro, you've got the job. You've got it. I didn't even care. You've got it. Like, you didn't have to go that hard on a sample. You didn't have to go that hard on a demo. Like, you've got it. Don't even worry about it. What can I do to help make your job easier? And I said, if you can get me on set so that I can just meet the actors, I would love that. Because the way that I'm going to write this music is going to be specific to how each character is portrayed by their actor. Because, like, if I was playing Alexander Hamilton in a stage production of Hamilton, and you were playing Alexander Hamilton in the same production, we got the same script, we got the same coaching, we had the same acting coaches, just because our personalities are different and because we grew up differently, we would play Hamilton in a different way.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to get up close and personal and meet these people and be like, okay, you're going to play Eli in a movie about his life. Okay. Talk to Eli. Like, if I'm going to write the music, if I'm going to write a song about Eli, I'm not going to write it like, okay, this is Eli. I'm going to write it as this is this person portraying Eli.
Yeah.
Because that's at least how I feel I would be able to best write music for these people, is It's a production and it's a short horror film, and I mean it's gonna premiere in the Cub Auditorium, and there's gonna be more information released later, but just keep an eye out for that. Music done by Makai Torres. Just
I'm gonna go see it.
yeah, please do. Yeah, keep an eye out for. I'll be promoting the hell out of it, and I'll be just promoting it. But he also mentioned he might. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, so Evan, text me if you hear this and I say things that I'm not supposed to. But he mentioned that he was like, yeah, this is my first real short film, and I'm kind of thinking about sending this to some film festivals. So if it takes off, then it takes off. If it doesn't, at least, hey, I still made a movie. And I was like, that's a good attitude to have. Like, just shoot your shot, and if it doesn't, you still shot your shot, and you still made something that you deserve, that you should be proud of. Because, I mean, how many 19-year-olds can say, I made a movie? Even if it's 20 minutes long, I made a movie. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna be good, man. Anyone with like that kind of passion for that.
Yeah, exactly.
To go out.
Well, it's also like you can hear, like, if someone makes a song and they don't love doing music, you can hear it. If someone makes a song and they love doing music, you can hear it. If they're passionate about something, it's gonna be better than if they're not. If they don't give a damn about it.
They're gonna have fun. They're gonna experiment.
Yeah, and
try out things.
that's part of the point of it. Like, why? If you're doing something and you can't laugh, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. That's one of my philosophies. Like, that's why, like, I try to just be a happy person. And like, my girlfriend, she mentioned, like, she was just going through her camera roll, and we were in the store, and we were in like the cheese aisle or something, and I was laughing just because I was talking to a worker there that I don't even know their name. I'd never seen them before, but she said, one of my favorite things about you is that you're always laughing. And I was like, that's just how I try to be. If you can't laugh while you're just walking down the street, you're walking wrong.
Can you imagine if everyone was like that?
Oh God, no. That's just the world would be such a weird place, and it'd be, I wouldn't want to live in this world if people weren't laughing. Like, I don't know. Just, why did the chicken cross the road? I don't know. To get to the other side. That's hilarious. Just laugh. Take some time to. Okay, pieces of advice from Makai. Take some time to smell the roses. Get off your phone. Say hi to people, and then laugh. Just do it.
That would lead to at least a beautiful day.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And like, one of the things that I've started doing just when I wake up, the whole. It's like what, January 22nd. So still new year, new me. My resolutions
Cold
are still
shower,
going strong. Yeah.
10 push-ups.
Yeah. No, but like, just get up and say today is going to be a good day. Because if you say that it's going to be a good day and you actively put forth effort to make it a good day, even if you have a horrible day, but you still maintain that attitude of I'm gonna at least try to make this a good day. If you go to bed and you had a bad day, you're still gonna be able to pat yourself on the back and say I put forth effort to make this a good day.
You said it was gonna be a good day.
Exactly.
And you can't go off on your own word.
Yeah. Well, I did, and I had a good day today. And I got up and I said that this morning. And I'm having a great day. It's 6 p.m. I'm chilling, living, laughing, and loving.
So, are you doing what else are you doing music-wise for school?
That's mainly the only thing that I'm doing. Right, that's my biggest project right now. But
how has college like changed your kind of music career? Have you had more time to do it? Do you feel like you've been focusing on school, so you're gonna get more into it afterward? Like, how does that work out?
I don't know, because I was never really keeping track of it. But I think college has given me a lot of. I think college is good for a lot of different things, and it's my fourth semester here. This is my second year. I'm barely scratching the surface. I'm still an underclassman. I don't really know what I'm doing. But at the same time, like, I feel like college is a great opportunity to learn a lot about who you are and really take time to craft who you want to be as a person. And I think that's a hugely valuable thing that everybody should think about. And they just should think, like, how do I want to present myself into the world, and what do I want to be when I grow up? Because, like, we're still, like, I'm not even old enough to drink yet. I got my license 3-4 years ago, however long I got my license ago. But still, just the point of college is just exploring. And I think if there's one thing that I've learned is college is a huge amount of college is just going out and saying, I'm going to go join a club. I can't lift weights, but I'm going to join weightlifting club just because I can. And I think part of the thing that's influenced my music with being in college is I've met so many different people that have an equal passion for music. I've met people from New Jersey that are into doing music, and they make the same kind of music for me. They make the same kind of music as I do. I've met people from, like, I learned how to play a new style of music on the guitar because I joined a multicultural fraternity and started hanging out with a lot of Mexicans.